Hello traders, tis I, the Rumpled One, coming to you on Wednesday, March the 18th. The year's 2026. Let's talk trading. Price structure with Walmal and Airball. These videos are for educational purposes only. Your results may differ from mine, differ from Walmal's, and differ from Airball's. As always, have your risk management in place so you do not lose more than you're willing to lose while trading. So, Walmall, we had quite the morning uh, in that in the not willing to lose more or not losing more than you're willing to lose. My at worst, I was down over 1,000 pips on these trades.
Oh my, I did not realize that. Wow.
Yeah, but it
That's,
came back.
yeah. Well,
But
the thing is, it comes down to what we say all the time. Well, you can be down a thousand pips, but if you're only risking a penny a pip, what does that mean? You're down $100.
well, it's
You
10
know?
cent 10 cents a pip.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, yeah, 10 cents a pip,
yeah,
and you'd be down just a little bit. So,
yeah.
you know, when we say know your risk, it's not, it's not pips, it's dollars.
Right. Okay, so with the topic, the structure, Womal, how about you define what structure is? Because we're going to be using your trading chart here, so we can
Okay.
see what you see.
All right. So what I do is, from the if you look at that chart, what you see is that I draw a line across every 5 pips. So it's 0, 5, 15, 20, 25, etc., all the way up. Okay. And why do I do that? Because I know that the M1 candle, if it's going to have a big M1 candle, unless there's a news drop of some sort, it's going to move 5 pips. That's a big candle. That's a return bar on the M1, as far as I'm concerned. And what it does for me is it goes and makes it very clear to me very quickly, okay, we're moving big in a one particular direction. Or, like, Kiro, what we saw earlier today, I called it out a couple times. Look at that. It's crawling up. Of course, we're all long, right? But it's crawling up. It's scraping its fingers, on a solid wall trying to get up. And it gets up 3, 4, 5 pips. And then all of a sudden, it just literally next tick drops 5 pips. And I don't have to look at price. I don't have to go and actually do the calculation in my head or use an EA to know that, hey, it dropped 5 pips. By having these lines across there, I can see, man, that thing just went dropped 5 pips. That thing just dropped 7 pips or 10 pips or whatever it may be. And I can go and get an idea of what price is doing in terms of price action. And it gives me a clue, okay, for whatever reason, there's a bunch of sellers sitting at that particular level, and I don't need to know the exact level. I don't need to know that the level's at 26.4. All I know is that, hey, we're right here at 25. For some reason, a bunch of sellers sitting at 25, and every time it gets up there and crawls up to that level, it falls off. That gives me an idea of structure, knowing that, hey, there's one or two things going to happen. Either that line or that area is going to be respected, and we're just not going to break through it, or if it does break through it, it's probably going to slam through it hard. And so there's opportunity to make money. And it's also, if I'm in a trade, it means to me, hey, get out of the trade there, because that's what price seems to be doing. So that little, it seems crazy or whatever, but just having those lines across there makes it very easy for me to spot it from a visual point of view. I'm a very visual type of person. I like to see what's going on. Some people like having the numbers, and they can in their head put the numbers in there. Okay, I know it's moved this far. It's moved X pips. It's moved, in that number of pips within, a certain amount of seconds or candles or whatever. Sure I can do that, but to me it's just much easier to use the chart. Hey, we're in the modern world now. We got graphs. Why not use the graphs? We're not 1920 anymore, when everybody's trading off the back of an envelope, which you would have to do with numbers back then. But now we have the advantage of this, so I'm going to take advantage of it. So I'm going to go and do that. The other thing that becomes very clear and very evident very quickly is that card is showing it or not on zero, but at the psych levels, which would be 0 and 0, 25, 50, and 75, I changed the color of the actual line.
Right.
So what happens is, the 20, the even numbers or the tens, not the tens, I mean the double O's. I'm sorry. That's usually on my chart, usually black, and then I make like all of the other sites. I usually make them red. I'm not sure if on the template I gave you did that or not.
No, but I
That's
can
what I like to do.
I can change it.
And,
Let's see.
and all that does for me is that we know that for whatever reason, traders love to go and respect psychological lines. And if I'm going to tell myself a story, I think what the story is, at least for me anyway, at least an easy way for me to remember it. People go and shoot for an even number. So I'm going to put my TP. Let's say if I was down, let's say price right now, we're sitting here running around the 25, 27 area. Let's say I decide to go short. Well, the easiest place to go and put a TP would be down at the double O. And so it becomes apparent to me that price is going to go and respect that area. And I can, and if I was that hypothetical trader out there, I'm going to go and put my, stop loss maybe at 50. Because that's another psychological number. It's an easy number to remember. And it's the type of thing where if I'm not looking at the chart, and I'm just following the ticket, the ticks, I know where the price is, because I know I get out with profit at double O, and I know that I take a loss at 50. And so it's easy to remember. So I think a lot of traders, go and do that, and it just makes it easier for them to go and see where price is going. And so for that reason, I know that those areas so often become areas of contention, and because they become areas of contention, price generally moves to them and then struggles at those places. We're struggling into 25. It's an area of contention. And, and just look back on your charts. I challenge you. Go out there, look at your charts, and just see how many times it was just like those psychological levels just struggle, and maybe move away from it very quickly, or blast through it. But you'll go through some type of consolidation or accumulation area. And here we are, we're blasting through the 25 right now. But if you look prior to that, candle 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 kept on going and bouncing off of that 25 level. There was contention there. Sellers are trying to sell through it. Buyers are trying to hold the price. Looks like the sellers won for at least a little bit of time. It doesn't mean that we're going to get all the way to double O, but it's just an area. So I like having those lines on the chart. It just makes it easier for me to spot those things.
Okay, and so you have the M candles that has the 30-minute candle color shading. How are you using that?
Okay. One of the things that you and I have noticed is that an M30 candle gets put out there, and so often it gets covered. What I mean by that is, like last 30-minute candle was a green candle, and it put it out there. Well, a lot of times what price will do is it may continue like it did this hour in that upward direction, and we had a green M30. But then a lot of times it will come right back to the open, and then it will try to cover. In other words, get back to the open of the M31 candle. M30
Yeah, because
candle 1.
candle M30 candle 1 covered M30 candle 2 here on the chart.
Exactly. And that's what it happens so often.
Right.
And because of that, I just like to have that in there, just as an idea of where price might go. Nothing more than that. It's just a slight bias. The second thing is, if I am moving in that direction, it gives me an idea that, hey, price likes to go in that direction, and we may run there. And then the third part of it is, and I don't do this as often as I probably should, but it's usually not a good idea to trade against the M30 candle. If you type thing like right now, it's probably not a good idea to go long because the M30 is red. We're trading into the cover of the previous M30. Can you take the trade? Sure, you can take the trade, but also understand that you have a high risk of this thing, going all the way down, the '08 level, which, you know, hey, trade at your own risk, right?
Right.
And I'll be the first to admit it. Hero will go and actually he'll call me out if I don't admit this, and that is that the reality is that it doesn't mean that I don't take the trade, and it doesn't mean that I don't sometimes get burned because of it. But at the same time, by putting it out there, at least I know that hey, I'm taking a risky trade. You know what? Hold your stops a little bit, maybe a little bit closer to your vest, and maybe hold your TPs a little bit closer to your vest, unless price action goes and dictates otherwise.
Right. Hey, Airball, you got any questions on the market structure or price structure here? Not to be
Not
confused with
just
the
yet.
market structure, guys. Yeah, so say hi
Yeah,
to the
not
traders, Airball, because you haven't been around for a long time.
Yeah, it has been a long time. I took about what would you say, almost about a 5 to 8 year absence. So just getting back into it.
So, one of the other things, we talked about the cover, but then, we're using a few other tricks. The higher low, lower high, based off of the three level ZZ semaphore indicator. But as far as just looking at the price structure, you also talk about shelves. I don't know if you define that for the user. So tell us
well,
where the shelf is
yeah.
right now.
Well, we just went through the shelf, and, but a shelf is just when price is going down to a particular area, okay, and it just continually goes and bounces off of it. So some people would call that a support area. I like calling it a shelf because it's not a my mind. Support is not a line, and people talk about support being a horizontal line. It's not a line. It's an area. You can go and build yourself a little rectangle around that entire area. Sometimes it'll come down and hit 25 and bounce off. Sometimes it'll come only down to 27. Other times it may go all the way down to 23. And you wind up building yourself a rectangle around that entire area, knowing that for whatever reason, price can't get through it, and it just bounces off. It's sort of like just going and taking, a squeegee ball and just dropping it, and it hits the floor, and bounces up. And I don't want to use the word flaw, and the reason why is because the flaw has an actual definition,
Right.
and it would be a long-term support area as opposed to short-term. So we're
Right.
talking short-term here, and for that reason, I call it a shelf. And I know a lot of other traders call it a shelf as well. Hopefully that defines it well enough for people.
Right. So as far as these lines, do you consider closes above, closes below, indicative of anything?
Um, I don't look at it that way. And I know a lot of people do, but I look at the lines that are put out there or their targets, either targets for my stop loss or targets for my take profit. That's all I look at. In other words, price likes to move from train station to train station, and those lines define those train stations for me.
Yeah.
So price. We're out of time, sir.
Yeah, the fastest 15 minutes of trading is just about over. But we'll definitely revisit this topic because there's a few more things we could probably discuss. And that just goes to show, traders, it's not what you trade, it's how you trade it. So go out there and drain the banks. This is the Rumpled One, over and out.